Hello, Internet. Sykes here. Before we get into today's episode, I just want to ask everybody one simple favor. If you like the podcast and want to know when new episodes are available, please make sure you're connected with Start the Beat on social media. At this point, the show is available on just about every major platform where you can get podcasts, not to mention Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, etc., everywhere. And there's only so much that I can do on my own to keep this ship going. So if you like the show and you want to support, please consider sharing this video with your friends, sharing this audio, leaving a comment in the thread below to keep the conversation going and just be a bigger part of the conversation. I know you people are out there. I see the numbers every week when they're coming in, and there's a lot of you. There's a lot more of you than I would expect. But unfortunately, the streams and the downloads are just not enough to feed the beast that is the algorithm. So, if you support the show, please consider doing this favor for me. It would mean a lot. Really helps keeps things going. And yeah, how about I shut up and let's get on with it. Sit back, relax, and let's start the beat. I didn't swear, but I wanted to. Motherfucker!
All right, mic check, 1, 2.
Mic check 3, 4. We're fucking doing this, buddy.
Awesome.
Hello and welcome to Start the Beat with Sykes. My name is Sykes and this is my podcast. Before we get started, I just wanted to take a quick moment to thank everyone who checked out the last episode. If you're one of the people who listened to that conversation, I hope you enjoyed it and thanks so much for coming back. But for those of you out there who are new to the show, welcome. Please feel free to make yourselves at home. And as always, there's beer and soda and water in the fridge. Cheers, my friend.
Cheers.
We'll cheers with a water. It's a celebration. Who gives a shit? It's a Thursday night. We're keeping it calm. We're old. We're adults. We were just chatting about that before we started recording today. I'm sitting here today with my new friend who I just met probably about 3.5 minutes ago downstairs. MC, rapper, hip hop guy, Nuch. Make some noise for the internet, my friend.
How's it going?
How you doing,
man?
You got it, man.
Me.
Good to have you here. I really appreciate you coming out. I cannot get my eyes off that fucking watch. That's the nicest watch anyone has ever worn on one of my episodes.
Thank you.
So I want to give you that. That's a nice watch.
The diesel watch, you can pick it up at any Macy's.
I like watches, but I also have a problem making decisions. So anytime I go to a place where there's a lot of watches, I just get really overwhelmed with decisions. And I don't buy anything.
I do too. I mean, I like this because it's not a Rollie. Well, it doesn't cost as much as a Rollie, like a Rolex. And, it's nice that, people compliment it just like yourself.
Yeah, it's a nice looking watch. Do you have a number of watches? Do you have several watches or is that like the watch?
This is the watch. I had another the watch and then that one broke. So then I got this one. And it was also a diesel.
Okay. All right. So maybe next time I'm at the store, I'll make sure it's a Macy's. Yeah, and I'll check out the diesels.
Yeah, check them out.
Will do.
Or check the website. I don't know.
Will do. So, Nuch, you are a rapper. You're from the Pittsburgh area, McKeesport specifically, correct?
Yeah, correct.
Let's talk a little bit about your background and what you've been doing over 'cause you've been rapping since what, 2008 or 9, I think I saw on your press kit?
Yeah, 08, 09, I was just fucking around rapping, writing and recording on a Rock Band mic with a software called Mixcraft in my room.
Dude, I fuck with that super heavy because it's all about using your resources.
But I was just doing it for fun. There was a couple years where I was just idle. So 2008, 2009, I would write a song here and there, record it, and then post it on MySpace. I was in a little group called Sounds of Madness. It was just me and 3 other of my boys, and we were just rapping just for the fuck of it. You know what I mean? We weren't trying to get famous or nothing. We were just doing it for the fun of it. Just going on SoundClick and just downloading instrumentals, and they were tagged up, so they were say the producer's name throughout the whole song. We didn't give a fuck. We were just putting that shit out there.
And I have a really similar story too, because whenever I started getting into hip hop, it was just me and my friends fucking around in high school because I don't know, it just seemed like something to do.
That's the same background. I'll tell you this though, when I used to smoke weed and I would not be able to write.
Okay.
I would not be able to write. So since I quit weed, it's been like 5 years since I smoked. I've been able to write, you know what I mean? And I came out with 3 actual albums since then.
That's really interesting how that plays differently for so many people, because there's a lot of motherfuckers that I meet that are all like, yo, I gotta smoke to get creative, to get that inspiration. Then there's other people like, I'm not a smoker. I've never smoked. I've never been into it. And I just feel like that. I feel like if I were to put myself into that mind frame, that I would completely shut down, because I've been operating on a certain way for so long.
See, like, well, I'll go back to my mind frame when I used to smoke, because I don't smoke anymore. It's been 5 years, like I said. When I smoked, like, all I wanted to do was just sit and play video games. I didn't want to put my mind to work and, like, you know, just try to create a song. Like, I've tried that, and like I would sit there and, you know, it'd be like 4 hours, and like I would have like one word.
Sure.
You know, just zoning out and shit like that. And yeah, no, I couldn't do it. I have to be sober.
Yeah. Well, hey, it's good that you figured that out, because now, as you mentioned, you've been very prolific. I can't fucking talk. Prolific in the past 5 years, we'll say. And I know that you mentioned already that you've put out a few releases. Let's talk about where you are right now in terms of what are you working on currently?
Well, actually, I'm working on an album I'm going to call it Porch Music. Originally, I was working on Porch Music right after my first release, which was Founders Hall back in 2015, but I shelved it because the stuff that I was recording, I just didn't like how it was coming out, and I just didn't like. I mean, I liked the vibe of how I wanted to do it, but just the way I just wasn't ready, basically,
Sure.
more or less than words. I just wasn't ready. So I ended up doing another project with a producer from New Jersey his name is in Richmond, called Let's Take 'Em Back. So that was my second release. Third release I just put out last Black Friday. It's called Springfield, which if you put 2 and 2 together, yes, it is like in honor of this. It's like a tribute to The Simpsons, because that's like my favorite TV show. So I put out Springfield. That's when it all clicked. I figured out my voice. Like, if you listen to Founders Hall, Let's Take 'Em Back, in Springfield, not only you get 3 dope albums, you see the progression of myself.
Yeah.
And Springfield is where it just came all together, and I know where I'm at, know where I need to be, and now I'm ready to tackle Porch Music.
So are you going to be like redoing some of the songs that weren't ready, or are you doing new stuff? You just kind of keeping the same, just kind of like the vibe and the idea of the project.
The vibe and the idea, it's completely all new. Like, I think I recorded like 2-3 songs for Porch Music back then that they're just going to stay in the vault.
Okay. Well, I think that what we're talking about now is just like the important journey and the self-realization that I think any artist has to come to terms with at some point, because it's like I don't know, it's almost like having an ugly kid and then having to admit to yourself that like, yo, my kid's not that cute. Like, these songs aren't that good. So I got to do something, you know, about like, I got to just put these songs on the shelf as if you did, and just keep working on shit. And I think it's really cool that, you know, you didn't beat yourself up over it too much. And like, you kept grinding instead of being like, these songs aren't where I want to be. I guess I'm not good at this, or I guess I can't do this. And then just saying, fuck it. You were just like, you know what I mean? You kept pushing. I think that that's really important.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, another thing about the songs too, is like, they were recorded 4 years ago. A lot of shit's happened. A lot of shit's changed since then. Like, you know, the whole style, like my wordplay and everything. So like, if I were to even put those on as bonus songs, you would see why they're bonus songs. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's just where I'm at with it. I'm also working on something too, but I'm not going to go into detail about that one. When it's done, I'm just going to drop it. You know, I'm just not going to say anything, and there's no release date, nothing. I'm just going to drop it. That's not for Porch Music. That's for something else I'm working on with a producer. He knows if he listens to this podcast.
Cool. It's always good to have a few things in the back pocket and be working on, you know, people in the public eye see you making moves, but what they're seeing is stuff that you already did a few months ago, and what you're doing while they're seeing that is some other shit that they're not going to see for a few more months or something like that. Like you're always 2 steps ahead of everyone else. It's really important.
Usually not really though, because like every song that I put out, like, you know, like for example, let's go to Springfield. Like I recorded that all from August 2018 to the end of September 2018, and then I put it out November 2018. You know, I just October and November and stuff was just saving up money to like get it, you know, mastered. Like it was mastered by someone really big in the mastering industry. Like he mastered like Dre and Eminem shit.
Yeah.
So I was just saving up money for that, saving money for cover art, you know, and get my shit on iTunes and stuff because, you know, that costs money too. And getting it like promoted by Dat Piff and stuff, that costs money. So that's what I was doing in those months. Like, so yeah, in a sense, yeah, it was sitting, but like it was pretty fresh when, you know, it wasn't sitting like all year, so to say.
Yeah. I'm not saying that like things were sitting. I'm just kind of talking more about how like you always want to be working on stuff. And like how you are right now, like you kind of have, you know, a project that you're working on that we just talked about, like porch music, but you also have something else that you mentioned that you're not going to get into, you know what I mean? Just kind of like that stuff that's in the back pocket, like people don't have to know about it, but it's always good to be working on that stuff. So you keep yourself busy. Yeah. Because a lot of times I've found it happens where sometimes you put out an album and it's like, shit, well, what's next? I guess I got to write more stuff, you know? So now I'm always like trying to write, you know, like even, you know, I'll be recording stuff for like a project and I got other stuff that I'm already working on that's newer, that's not going to be on that project. It's just, I just got to make sure that I just keep writing. So I always know what's happening next. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So we mentioned MySpace.
Yeah.
All right. So even though it was humble beginnings, you probably weren't like too serious about things back then, but you remember MySpace.
I do.
You're old enough to remember MySpace. So you've gone through all of these crazy transitions of social media and trying to promote music. How has that been for you over the years? What has like become easier and what has become harder, do you think?
Well, I mean, Twitter is like, I mean, I've had that since 2009. I'll say the easiest is Instagram because like it's you know, I can put a post up and do a couple hashtags and those hashtags, you know, will like trend and, you know, and just get likes and stuff and get people to come and view and stuff like that. Twitter is getting harder over the years, but I still like Twitter because that's how I get in contact with like people, like because most people have their like business information or emails and stuff in their bios, and that's how I get a hold of them.
Yeah, I have not a very like strong relationship with a Twitter. I've had a Twitter forever, and I post on it regularly, but I don't like fuck with it too much. But I will say that anytime I've like needed to try to get a hold of somebody or just accidentally got into a communication with like somebody that I look up to or another artist or a producer or something, it's always through Twitter. For some reason, it's really easy to like get a hold of people
Super
on there.
Easy.
I guess just
That's
because
why I love
it's not bogged down as much as like Instagram or other platforms like that. With your music, how do you find pushing the music itself now? With like, I mean, obviously you started, like CDs were a thing and CDs are still kind of a thing, but not really.
CDs are getting actually more worth the value now.
You think so?
I think so because I mean, back in the day, like it was hard for selling CDs like, you know, 10 a pop and stuff like that. But now CDs are like almost in a sense, they're starting to become like vinyl records in a sense, you know, like people want that shit. So like you can up the value and sell a CD for $20. I know you remember back in the day, probably like back in the day when you go buy like a new CD or something, it used to be like almost $20.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like going to FYE or Best Buy, that shit was like $18.99, $19.99, you know, basically a 20. Well, I think that's coming around, but it's more of like a novelty item than it is like getting your music out there. I mean, obviously the streaming sites is where you have to do it now. And that's just how it is.
Mm-hmm. I find that there's something that's so lame about the streaming shit because back in the day playing shows, if somebody fucked with what I was doing, they would buy a CD and that was easy. And now a lot of the times if people fuck with me, they'll be like, yo, are you on Spotify? And I'm like, yeah. but I have no idea if they're actually ever going to look me up. It's not like I could be like, yeah, I'm on there. Let me go on that shit right now and let me see you follow me on Spotify. Because, it's like there's a good chance that they're going to forget.
Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, if they, spent that $10 on that CD, $15 or whatever, they're not going to forget because now they're taking something home with them. And that's what really like bothers me, like as an independent artist.
It bothers me
It's
too.
like, I don't even give a shit about the money. I just don't want you to forget about me.
Right.
So I'm just like trying to give people like stickers or cards, like, yo, like don't forget, but there's even like the value on that, the value on something that you give somebody for free versus what they paid $10 for, they still might forget about it.
Yeah.
But it's so hard.
It really is. I mean, I completely agree with you on that subject. I'd rather sell my merch or give it out or whatever, because they're gonna remember that. They're gonna be like, hey, yeah, I remember, like back in the day, like pushing mixtapes out in malls and shit. Like, I mean, when I started coming in the music industry, that was like the very end of like that shit. It was right before the streams.
Now there aren't even motherfuckers at the mall, period.
No, and that's sad because I'm a mall rat. I love the mall.
Same. What was your mall growing up?
Century 3 or Monroeville?
3? Yeah, I was a Monroeville kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was my spot.
I mean, I liked Century 3 in Monroeville, and it was always a treat to go out to Westmoreland Mall and check that out. It was always a treat. But, man, I mean, sadly, obviously Century 3's dead.
Yeah.
Monroeville's well on its way to becoming Century 3. And same with Westmoreland Mall. It's very sad because those are like my malls growing up. Like everyone goes to Ross Park or South Park or Robinson, and I don't like those malls.
Yeah.
Like they're just too upscale for me.
Yeah, the mall feels weird. I haven't been to Monroeville in a minute, but I was out at, I think it was Ross Park somewhat recently. I don't remember why. I don't know. We were like going on vacation. We needed something, but it was weird. It just felt weird being at the mall. It just felt there's something off about it.
I don't know. Those malls feel something off when you go to those. It's just like you feel like you don't belong there. I feel
sure
because I mean I got growing up in McKeesport. I mean I'm growing up in the ghetto and shit like that.
Yeah, I understand that.
So like that's like the high scale mall. Like you just kind of feel out of place. I always did. Everyone's different, but that's just how I felt.
It's completely understandable. So, digging into McKeesport and coming up in the hip hop scene, when it came to performing and playing shows, what was that transition for you like, being in like a suburb of Pittsburgh and not being like in the city?
I mean, it really wasn't much. I mean, my first show I ever did was in Homewood Coliseum.
Okay.
And then my second show was Rex Theater. Third was Club Diesel. Fourth show was a place in McKeesport called the Rue Bar and Grill.
Cool.
I did a couple shows there actually.
Like when you were getting into doing shows, how did you go about like finding out about the shows? Because I find that that's something that a lot of people struggle with unless they have like some contacts or already know people that are doing shows. Did you already know people that were in it? Or were you just like Nebby on the internet?
Nebby on the internet, definitely. Like how I got on to my first show in Homewood. I found out there was an artist with Gucci Man, Brick Squad. His name was Woo the Kid. I was a big fan of him at the time. He was coming to do a show at Homewood. So I contacted the person that was hosting that show, and I was like, yo, I want to get on this show. And, it actually turned out to be a benefits like concert in a sense for actually the show host's daughter who had cancer.
Okay.
So in a sense, I kind of paid to perform, but it was worth it in a sense because it was going to a good cause. Like he gave me tickets to sell, and I sold tickets, and
yeah,
and then had how that goes.
Yeah. I mean, it probably wasn't that hard for you to move some tickets considering it was your first show. As long as
Not at all.
Yeah, you probably know some people that want to come see you. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I still remember that very vaguely. And then especially with the Rex Theater one, because that was like, like in a sense, that was like the first like official show. Like, it was at an official venue. It wasn't at Homewood Coliseum. It was at the Rex Theater. So like those tickets were easy to move to.
Yeah. Now, moving forward, I mean, you mentioned that you played a place in McKeesport, and
yes.
I don't know anything about this place, but I'm going to assume it's a little bit different than the Rex Theater in terms of setup and things like that. Have you found or any struggle with like trying to perform in some places that don't typically host shows being a rap artist, or do you find it's like you've been okay?
I mean, It's the same to me. I mean, obviously, there's a big difference from looking over to people and being eye level with the people.
Yeah.
So like looking over to people, that shit is awesome. I'll definitely say that. But being eye level to people, I feel like that's more like cultural. Like like back in the day, like hip hop shows. Just picture yourself at a hip hop show. Like picture a young like Jay-Z or Biggie or something like that, and like a in the back of like a clothing shop or something like that, where they're hosting a hip hop thing, and they're just in the back spitting, and they're eye level with the people. Like I just picture it like that, and that's hip hop to me.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. So I love playing big venues because I love big sound, especially, we're fucking hip hop. I want those fucking drums to slap. I want to feel the bass. I want a room with subs. Like, it just sounds better than sometimes if you're in a smaller space that has a smaller setup and like it sounds all right, but it's not like fucking banging, right?
Yeah.
But I don't like how sometimes on a bigger stage, how disconnected you are from the audience.
Yeah.
I don't like feeling like, I'm like an animal in a zoo and everybody's like watching me on a stage perform.
Right.
You know what I mean? I like being in the crowd with everybody. So my dream venue would be somewhere where I could play on the floor, like, and be in everybody's face, but it be as loud as somewhere like the Rex Theater.
Right,
Like I
right.
want the both. Like I want it to be super intense and I want you to fucking feel it, but I want to be in there with people too. I would love that.
I'm sure it's out there, but
Yeah.
it just ain't here.
With, I guess, playing shows and moving forward, I know you have a show coming up, don't you?
I did, but I actually
Okay.
had to pull out of that.
Okay. Sorry to hear that, man.
Yeah, unfortunately, some circumstances popped up where I had to pull out of the show, unfortunately. And
Hey, that happens.
if any fans are listening, my apologies and stuff, because, I was really looking forward to this show. It was opening up for the legendary Far Side, what I mean?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I had to pull out some personal reasons, but I apologize. I'll be back on the stage soon. I promise you that, sooner than later.
Yeah, it's all good. So nothing else on the books right now?
We have some things that are like, up in the air,
Yeah.
but we're still trying to get final
It's a
say.
hard time of year to be doing shit. I try to like around the end of the year. This is when I try to like really grind in the studio, recording and stuff like that. Because this time of year, it's so hard to get people to come out to shows the closer you get to the holidays. And also like, I want to fucking just chill. It's like nobody wants to come out to shows because they're just trying to chill. And it's like, why the fuck don't I just chill too? God damn.
Yeah, see, the fall time to me is the most wonderful time of the year because it's so beautiful out. That's just like, and then I love it. I love it because like that's rap season to me. That's when I can sit down and write.
Yeah. I couldn't agree more.
I love that time of the year. Now winter is more of like how you said, like going to the studio and stuff like that, unless it's there's 10 feet of snow outside.
Yeah.
And then like spring and summer is always the best time to have a show. I agree. And then spring too, early spring.
Yeah.
Or spring, I like to say, is a good time to put out an album.
Yeah, definitely. I put out my last album, similar to you. It was last November, and I feel like that was just a bad move. I don't know. It just didn't feel right. How did you feel like you did releasing on Black Friday?
See, I thought I would do very well. I thought, like I'm going to put it out on Black Friday, people were going to be out buying, stuff like that, but unfortunately what happened is it didn't come out like on Apple or Spotify or nothing on the 23rd. It actually came out on the 27th. So it was on Dat Piff on the 23rd and you were able to download it for free and stuff like that. So that kind of, screwed me over a little bit. I was going to cuss right there. I don't know if we can cuss.
You can
on
cuss.
The show. Okay. Well, yeah, that fucked me over.
Yeah.
Because everyone's downloading it for free. And then when it's on the streaming sites and stuff, they're like, oh, yeah, well, I'll listen to it. And they just never get around to it because they already downloaded it. And then plus when I got the hard copies made, that's a tough sell. That was a tough sell too.
Yeah.
So like it kind of, I thought in the eyes, like it looked like it was going to be good, but it ended up backfiring on me. So, I mean, it is what it is. You live and learn.
I'm thinking about doing something on my next release and like this probably isn't something that like, actually, you know what? I don't give a shit. I'll talk about it. If somebody wants to take this idea and run with it before me, that's totally fine. Because if you do it and it doesn't work, then I know that not to do it. But what I'm thinking about on my next release, like legitimately thinking about this, is I'm thinking about recording a full album and I'm going to release the physical copy. But when it comes to online, I'm going to release the songs like once every other week or something like that. So like the album will be out. If you come to a show, you can get the full album. But in terms of releasing it online, because it's going to be a different community. It's like, it'll be like a world release online. And then like, there's like the local Pittsburgh release, right? So locally, you can come to a show, you can get the whole CD if you want to hear it. But in terms of the rest of the world, I'll just be releasing one song every other week. So it's just like this steady promotion of new shit.
Yeah.
Something new every other week or something like that. And if it's 12 tracks, you know, that's, I can't do the math in my head, but that's a few months of promotion for all new shit instead of being like, here's an album and then it's done. And then I'm just promoting the same album over and over and over again.
Right.
You know, so that's what I'm thinking about doing.
Actually, what I was going to do with Porch Music is it's actually funny. I'm just good. I'm not going to put it on Spotify. I mean, I may put it on Spotify, but I'm only going to put the singles on Spotify and stuff like that, you know, etc. When I say Spotify, I'm meaning like Apple, Deezer, all that title. I'm only going to put the singles out and shoot music videos for the singles. But like as far as the album goes, I'm only just going to drop it physical copy.
Okay.
That's how I'm doing it.
Yeah, I think that I noticed something with, you know, the past few things that I've put out where, and I mean, this isn't even just with my rap shit, because I have a couple different projects that aren't rap too. Yeah. And I noticed, you know, you got a 12-track release or something like that. No matter what, it's always like, you know, it's the beginning of the album always has a good amount of listens, and then towards the end, it doesn't have it. And I don't think it's so much because, oh, like, you know, this shit's whack. I think it's just people only have like 20 minutes to listen to something at once. You know what I mean?
More
like,
the attention span.
Yeah, they're driving from here to there. And if it's on their phone, that's another thing that I fucking hate about the phones and shit, because it's like, oh, okay, well, I have 20 minutes. I'm driving to Giant Eagle or some shit. And then they go into Giant Eagle, they unplug their phone, then they get some text messages, and then they get back in the car. It's not like they're going to go back into Spotify and pick up where they left off.
No.
Whereas if it was a CD, you know, it stays where it was, and they get back in, and there it is again. There's like little shit like that is what really bugs me about streaming. But I mean, I stream. I like streaming music. I think it's awesome to not have to remember to download MP3s onto some weird device anymore, like I used to do with my iPod and shit like that.
See, I miss that. See, I'm completely opposite. I don't like the streaming shit. I mean, it is what it is, and I just deal with it. But if it were up to me, I'd rather put it on I'd rather go on LimeWire and get that shit for free, put it on a blank disc and throw it in my CD player, or put it on my iPod. Yeah, it's just like it's like I like the convenience, but the convenience is too convenient, because now, like, I have a group chat with my band online, and we have a little thread where we share new music that we found with each other. And it would kind of like be like back in high school where someone's like, yo, I got this CD, you got to check this out. Or like, yo, like, fucking, you know, I was able to like tape this song on the radio. Did you hear it yet? And like play you it, right? But like you're sitting there and they show it to you. But now you share links. But the problem with the link is you could check it out whenever you want, which is convenient. But what ends up happening is I never fucking open that link. Never opened the link.
I never fucking check it out.
Absolutely, I get it.
Instead of like, you know, just being like somebody handing me a burned CD or something that feels like, again, back to that conversation where if you hand somebody something physical, it's like it encourages you to engage with it.
I'll always be a fan of physical shit, honestly. Like if I can't get a physical copy from you, then I don't want it.
Yeah.
Like that's how I am with like other local artists and stuff. I mean, I'll listen to, oh, well, hold on. That's a lie. Cause I'll still listen to you. But if I can't get a physical copy, like I'm not going to, you know, every time you put out a song, I'm not going to, you know, check you out. Like if I can't get a physical, then.
Yeah. It's so hard. That the other thing too is like most of the time, you know, I'm checking fucking Facebook or Instagram or something at times when I shouldn't, you know what I mean? Like I got a couple minutes at work, you know, you know, like, oh, you know, bathroom break, or like, oh, okay, long red light. And all this shit. And those aren't, it's like, oh, fucking Nuch dropped a new track. But like, I'm walking across the street right now. I don't got my headphones. I'll have to check that out later. I won't. I'll completely forget that it existed, because now by the next time I open up my phone, there's 5,000 other fucking things. You know, I'm seeing what fucking Sarah had for lunch and fucking Jeff's new workout routine and fucking, you know, Amber's fucking yoga pants and all, you know, whatever, all this random shit on my phone,
Man.
mixed in with everybody's music shit. That's the other thing that bums me out too, is that like now, I remember with back on MySpace, we had MySpace and then we had MySpace Music.
Mm-hmm.
So if anybody was interested in music, they had a place where they could go and check out music. And we still have sites that are like that, but they don't have the amount of people on them that MySpace did.
Man,
it's such a small demographic. So now we have, you know, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook to some degree, and that's everything. People go there for everything. So music's just like the smallest sliver.
Yes.
You know what I mean? And like when fucking, if you know, Post Malone puts out something new, it's in the same fucking place where your thing's gonna be.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, fucking 21 Pilots puts out something new. Katy Perry, I don't fucking know, whatever pop star you want to say. All that shit, they're using the same fucking thing that we are.
Yep.
It's like, how the fuck are we supposed to compete with that? It's crazy.
I have no answer to
I mean,
that.
I don't really think it's supposed to be a competition, but just in terms of like attention.
Yeah.
It's like all it is. You're just trying to get people's attention. You're trying to get people to remember you, which again goes back to that giving somebody physical. That's the battle. It's not even like making somebody like you or trying to make money. It's just you need to get people's attention, and then you just want them to at least just remember who the fuck you are. Like even getting that anymore is so fucking, it's a struggle.
It is, especially for like you and I who actually love and crave that shit.
I think that there's a lot of people that are super passionate about finding music, people that are into music, but it's just it's a very small demographic, and they're so spread out. So just finding those people, finding your audience, it takes a lot of time. It's super hard.
What also hurts us too is like paying for views and plays and stuff like that. That shit sucks. I'll never do that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd rather get like 107 or, you know, like 500 plays and know that they're all organic, like 500 actual people listen to that track than like pay like however much and get like 25,000 views.
Oh yeah,
from
it's
bots.
all bullshit. That's the thing that like really rubs me the wrong way a lot of the time. You know, I have friends that are talking about like, oh, there's this new artist, you know, check this out. This fucking video already has 1 million plays. I'm like, I don't give a shit how many plays it has. It's like, all that's telling me is that artist has enough money to throw at. I guarantee you at least 50% of those plays were probably bought and paid for.
Mm-hmm. And you know what's sad though?
And then the thing that's fucked up, well, we might be about to say the same thing, but what I'm about to say is that because it has a high number, more people are going to want to watch it.
Yep. And same with the record labels. They're going to look at those plays and say, oh, he has 1 million plays. He has 1,000 plays. Now, obviously, the guy with 1,000 plays may have better music and better quality music, but the guy with 1 million plays is going to get looked at and talked to by the the executives.
Yeah, I get it. It's like all the time.
Popularity contest.
I get fucking press kits emailed to me all the time, and because for some fucking reason, there's all these people that like think that I do like a completely different job than what I do. There's a lot of people that like email me and think that I like have a blog and like just think that I'm going to promote their out of town band shows on my blog. I'm like, bro, I don't have a blog. I got a podcast. Like if you want to come through when you're in town, we can talk. But they're emailing me press kits, and it's like, there's hardly even anything about their music anymore. It's just like, oh, you know, this indie rock band has garnered over, you know, total 4,500 million streams on Facebook and YouTube. And it's like the first thing that they say is like, I don't give a fuck how many people listen to your music. Is it good? Tell me about it. Like, I don't care. The numbers don't matter to me, but those numbers do like really attract a lot of people. And it's crazy that like people still don't understand that you can just buy that shit. You just promote that shit. It's fake. Mm-hmm. It's super fake.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Everything's kind of fake now though. You know what I mean? It's like buying YouTube views is like, the rapper's Snapchat filter for like, you know, making themselves look prettier in a way, you know what I mean? Like, you know, there's a lot of Instagram girls, I guess, that have their their little cute things that they do. And what rappers do is, fudge their numbers to make it look like they're more popular than they are.
Absolutely. They'll have like 27,000 followers on Instagram and 50,000 followers on Spotify, 50,000 followers on Spotify and stuff like that, and 50,000 plays in their views. But then you go look at, like, I guarantee you, like, their numbers when they drop albums and shit, like, it's probably still the same as, like, if you or I were to drop an album.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. And the other thing too that's fucked
like
up about that too is a lot of that also, because there's a whole nother part of this conversation involving algorithms and the way that these social media platforms distribute content out to people now. I remember there used to be a lot of talk about, like, oh, you got to post at this time of the day to reach the most amount of people and that kind of shit. You ever hear that?
I have. Same with, like, releasing albums and stuff. They say releasing albums in, like, the fourth quarter of the year is, like, bad.
Yeah.
And the best is releases the second or third, which is spring and summer.
But now, like, you ever pay attention to, like, your Instagram feed, and, like, it's not, you don't get shit in order anymore. Like, it's like not in real time. It's like, I'll be seeing, there's people whose posts I don't see at all. And then there's people where it'll keep showing me the same fucking 2 or 3 posts from, like, a week ago.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what the, like, are people seeing my shit in the fucked up way that I'm seeing everybody else's shit? I'm guessing. Because now it's like, I notice it, like, where, like, I'll just be getting random ass likes on shit where it's like, oh, something that I posted like 4 fucking days ago.
Yep.
And it's not like, I don't think there's somebody that's just, like, clicking on my profile and scrolling through my shit. I just think that, like, Instagram is, they're distributing the shit all fucked up, and they're only showing it to, like, certain people that, like, engage with you so much, or, like, people that you engage with. So I think that that's another issue too, when you have even bigger artists that are putting out content where, like, you're seeing lower numbers compared to what they put out, because they're dealing with the same distribution issues with Instagram or Twitter or whatever that we are, which is interesting. I don't understand fully how it works, to be completely honest with you. I don't want to understand fully how it works. Like, I got into all this shit because, like, I wanted to, like, rap. I wanted to make beats. I wanted to play shows. That's what I like. I like doing the creative shit. I don't want to be, even though I, like, fuck with, like, being business minded, like, I don't want to know about, like, social media numbers. I don't want to know what the fuck algorithms are. I don't give a fuck about any of this stuff. Like, I just fuck with making music.
Yeah.
I just want to do art.
Yeah.
But now in 2019, soon to be 2020, you can't just be a rapper anymore.
Nope.
You gotta be fucking everything. You gotta wear every goddamn hat there is. And, my boy Mike Hitt said this a long time ago, and I bring it up a good bit, but, like, it fucked with me so hard when he said it, because he was just talking about, like, it was like me, and he's another producer, MC in the city, and
I know who he is. Shout out Mike Hitt.
Yeah, he's been grinding for a real long time, and I've known that dude, pretty much, is like, we got our come up together, like, doing, like, beat battles at the Shadow Lounge and shit like that.
Oh man,
and,
Shadow Lounge. I wish I was around for that.
He's a super good dude, but we were talking about this and how, both of us, we got our start just, making beats, rapping. And, like, we spent a long ass time doing this shit. And then a decade flies by, right? 10 years later, then all of a sudden we realize, okay, now we got to get good at being business shit. And it's like, fuck, we just spent the past fucking 10 years in school. You know what I mean? We're like doctors of making beats now. I don't got another fucking 10 years to learn how to be a business person. You know what I mean? I don't want to fucking do that. But now here we are. It's probably been about 5 years since he said that to me. So I'm getting better at learning all this shit, but I'm still very bitter about it. Like, I just want to fucking make beats.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, you got the easy. I mean, making beats is hard. So I commend you on that. I want to learn how to make beats, because I would love to, produce my own shit. I've been around the ropes, like Big Germ. He showed me a couple things, and Tony Diggs, he showed me a couple things. This other guy I work with, Big Andy, he showed me a couple things. But like, I need to sit down and have, like, one of those 3 guys, like, over my shoulder, like, okay, now hit this button.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's not impossible. There's a lot of people that do it, and it's easier than ever to do this shit now. I mean, you could download apps on your fucking phone and learn the basics. You know what I mean? You don't need to get a fucking MPC or like a machine or any other of these other fucking fancy things that exist now. I mean, like you could just fucking download some fucking software on your phone and at least learn the basics of sequencing drums and, you know, figuring out how to put some sounds in and samples and shit like that. If you're into it, you know what I mean? I would definitely pursue it. But I was doing beats before I was rapping. And the rapping thing, like when I originally started making music, I just wanted to make music. And I mean, it could be a really long story. I don't want to get into it because this is your interview, not mine. But, you know, it just happened that I started making rap beats and my friends were rapping. And I was like, this is fun. So I started like rapping as a joke. And then I found out about like, because at the time, like the only hip hop I was aware of was like, you know, shit that was on MTV. I wasn't aware of like underground shit. And then like through like friends that I had in like the graffiti world and all this shit, I started learning out about like a lot of underground dudes and stuff that like related to me. I felt like it actually spoke to me, you know. I mean, listening to tracks about like graffiti and like skateboarding and like, you know, video games, like finding the rappers that were talking about that shit, not like the cash, cars, money, girl stuff, which is cool.
Yeah.
I like that stuff too, but like finding something that really connected with me on a personal level made me actually like, oh, like, okay, like I really fuck with hip hop at this point.
Oh, I love, see, that's where I put my music into the underground, like how you just described, like the skateboarding, the graffiti vibes, like that, just that real raw hip hop.
That's the cool thing. And we actually didn't touch on this at all about like the style of music that you do and the era that you're doing it, because it's very it's not modern, but it's not old school either. It's just very, I guess, I don't know how to put it. You know what I mean? I guess it's sort of boom bap, sort of dirty, sort of just, I don't know. How would you put it? To me, because like for me, it sounds like hip hop. And when I listen to a lot of stuff that I hear today that people say is hip hop or rap, I'm like, that doesn't even sound like rap to me anymore. It just sounds like mumble pop. And like, I don't have a problem with it, but it's so weird to me just because it doesn't sound like what I know to be hip hop. So when people call it hip hop, I'm like, it's strange. I guess you can call it whatever you want. But when I think hip hop, I think like what you're doing.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that culture. Like it's a culture. Like you gotta, obviously the real know what hip hop is. Like, you know, obviously I know, like, it's an art. It's a form of art. Like it's an art. Like, the way I look at it is like, we're poets, we're street poets.
Yeah.
And we paint a very vivid picture. Like we could put you, like, you know, I could write a song about, you know, about little 5-year-old Stewie or something like that, you know, walking in, seeing his, you know, say like he walks in and like, you know, and go fast forward 5 years later, he's on the corner selling drugs. Like,
sure.
You know what I mean? Like I could write that, you know, and it'd be a very vivid picture. Like you would feel like you are that person. You know what I mean? That's just how I like to do it. Like I feel like it's more of an old school 90s vibe in a sense, you know. But it's also like real grimy and gritty. That's kind of like my style. I found that style actually.
Yeah, I feel like the stuff that I heard of yours, it sounded like, I guess it, you know, it had like a classic feel, but with very modern production. Like it sounded current. Like it doesn't sound like it's recorded poorly or, you know, where there's like a lot of like old school rap stuff. There's like sloppy sample chops and things like that.
Yeah.
Like it gives it like that cool, like super grimy vibe. But like your stuff doesn't have that. So it doesn't sound old in the sense. It has a very modern, clean production, but still has that feel of a classic hip hop feel. And like very good, clean, direct vocals, good mixes and stuff like that. A lot of like, that's the funny thing about a lot of like old school stuff. Sometimes when you hear it, like, it's just like the mixes are bad, but it's like tight too. At the same time, it's like, you know, there was just like some grimy dudes in a grimy room somewhere in like Brooklyn or in Venice Beach or something like that, just fucking using like their limited resources to put something together. And that's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Right. No. I recorded all of that. I believe you're talking about Springfield. Am I correct?
I'm not sure. I watched whatever stuff you had videos for that was on the press kit that you sent me.
Okay.
I think I watched like 3 or 4 videos. So it was probably like a mix of stuff, I'm guessing.
Okay, so then that was from my second album and my third album, which would be Let's Take 'Em Back in Springfield. Let's Take 'Em Back. They were actually both recorded at ID Labs. I recorded there.
Okay, cool.
They were all recorded by Big Germ. I'm sure you know of him or whatever.
Yeah. That's a name that I know. I don't think I've ever met him in person. It's kind of funny actually because like for as long as I've been doing like rap shit, I'm pretty disconnected from a lot of rap stuff and rap people. I don't know. I just like I'm not like in terms of like producers, I would say, because I've always been making my own beats and shit like that. So when it comes to like the studios, like Idea Labs, those are names that I know, but I've never been there. A lot of producers I've never met.
Yeah.
A lot of artists I know, but when it comes to like people that are always like behind the board and shit like that, I haven't connected with a whole lot of them.
Yeah. I went to ID to record both of those. The Springfield got mastered by a completely different person. Like I sent that out to a dude that lives out in Cali. Like I said, he mastered like Eminem, 50 Cent, like shit like that. So that's probably why you feel like it's a very clean, done well album or whatever. And then like the other stuff, it was like, it was mixed and mastered by Big Germ. So it was mixed and I like doing it with different people because I feel like you get a better feel and a better vibe from it.
Yeah,
than the same person.
I mean, I've always done my own production. I've recorded some stuff with other people just because sometimes it's hard to record your own vocals.
Yes.
It's really hard.
Very hard.
You know what
That's
I mean?
why I started going to the studio.
Doing like something like, yo, this is my take. And then I got to go over here. And then I got to like put my brain into engineer mode and then back into performer mode. And like you're switching back and forth. It's like really hard to focus.
See, there's some people out there that can do that. And shout out to them. You know what I mean? That there's people that are out there engineering, producing, and rapping, just like how you just said you kind of do.
Yeah, I could do it. But the last album that we put out in November, that album, I recorded, engineered, produced, mixed, mastered, everything. I did the entire thing, and I can do it. I don't have a problem with it, but it's nice if I do have that extra money or that extra time or some, you know what I mean, to actually just record with somebody else. That way I could just like get in the zone and just focus on performances.
Right. See, like when I first started rapping, like back in 08, 09, that's what I was doing. Just fucking around on the computer, stuff like that. But I realized, like, look, like if I wanted to take this shit seriously, I can't be doing this on no damn Rock Band mic and the software I had and, just recording in my room in my grandparents' house. Like I need to go to an actual studio and get shit done. So that's what I did. And here we are.
Yeah. I mean, it's cool that you were able to like, find those people, make those connections and make it happen because there's, for whatever reason, there's some people that aren't able to pick up their phone and Google recording studio in Pittsburgh and find out where to record some shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's how you found ID Labs. I'm just saying.
No, that's not how I found it.
I'm just saying like in general, you know what I mean? Like people that don't have the resources that don't even take the time to just research it.
Yeah.
We got a wealth of knowledge at our fingertips where you can make anything happen. You can learn about anything. And then people will just complain that nothing's going on or things aren't working out for them instead of looking for the thing that they're looking for.
Right.
It's fucked up.
It is. It's very fucked up. I get that. I mean, I don't know.
So moving forward then, you know what I mean? You got a project coming up. I guess you're still working on this. There's probably no tentative release date for Porch Music, right?
No.
Yeah.
If I had to say, probably, obviously, the Porch Music summer maybe. I wanted to put it out this summer, but I just didn't feel like it was right. Or I mean, I got all the beats, and just writing and stuff, but it's just hard, just trying to get it all together and stuff.
Yeah. No, it takes time. And I think that it's important to allow ourselves to take that time to put out a good product versus rushing something just to get it out.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
That's exactly how I'd rather take 2 years to put out a project than just rush something out and try to push out as many projects as I can.
Yeah.
Like I said, I'm working on a little secret project right now with a producer here from the Berg. I mean, I'm gonna drop that first.
Okay.
And then I'll focus more on porch music. This is more or less like just to kind of get in my zone and just really just talk my shit. You know what I mean? Just a real gritty hip hop. Like,
yeah,
you would definitely fuck with it, and you'll be the first to hear it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate that.
No doubt.
I'll have to shoot you some of the new stuff too that we're working on. We were recording earlier today, so I'm pretty stoked on that.
Absolutely.
Trying to get this new shit together. It's funny because just how long shit takes. You don't even realize it. Like, I demoed. So I had this track that I did, and we did the music for it, and I laid down demo vocals on it a couple days ago, and I have a girl that's like, so with my rap shit, I have a band.
Yeah.
So I have a girl that sings with me who's basically like my hype woman / she like sings pretty shit and like, does hooks and shit like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I tracked my stuff and then we tracked some stuff for her today. And I noticed that like I had finished the music for the track back in May. And I'm like, fuck, it's already October. Like that was 5 months ago.
Yeah.
Like time flies. I just keep thinking like, oh yeah, like we're working on this stuff. We're getting so much stuff done. But still it's like shit. Like it's been 6 months already. And it's almost been a year since we dropped the project.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like we haven't been doing nothing. It's just wild when, you think, okay, it's been a year, but realistically it's like, okay, I maybe get, a couple hours a day to maybe focus on this if I'm lucky.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And when I'm working with other people, like I got other people in the band, I got maybe 1 day a week to get together with them to try to record and write and shit like that. So, it's like if you actually put together all the time that you're actually working on stuff versus how long it actually was like on the calendar, it would be so much smaller. It might be like 3 days or something like that in a year time period that we actually were working on shit.
Right. Well, that's the goal. The goal is to be working on this shit all the time. That's why we're in this shit.
And like, it's like, I feel like even if I just get the smallest thing done, I get like one line or something a day, sometimes I might sit down 20 minutes later. I have a whole song. I'm like, where the fuck did that come from?
Yeah.
Like word. And then there's other days where like, there's nothing that comes out for weeks, but just trying, that's all you can really do.
Yeah. Try is all you can do.
And there's always other shit that you got to focus on, life shit, work, family, school, depending on like what you're into. Everybody has other shit going on.
Yeah.
So everybody's story's different. So it's just a matter of staying persistent the best that you can.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting close to the end, but before we cut this whole motherfucker off, why don't you let people know where they can find you on the internet and like where people can check out your shit?
They can find me on Instagram or Twitter. My Twitter handle's Nuch, NUCH412.
Simple.
It's very simple. I mean, I tried to make it simple when I created it.
Yeah.
Facebook, you can just type in Nuch, NUCH, and my Facebook page or personal page will pop up, either or. Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, Tidal. Got to think of all these names.
Yeah, all the normal shit.
Napster, all that. I'm on all that. SoundCloud. Trying to think what else. Are there any streaming platforms that you aren't on? I can't think.
I'll tell you this. Look up Nuch on any streaming platform, and if you don't find the dude, get on his Twitter and let him know that he's not on that platform. So
that works.
You can get your shit on there.
That works.
And YouTube, you got videos.
Yep. All YouTube is OBGTV. Or you could just type in Nuch. Either way, me or some Japanese woman will pop up.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, take your guess on which one it is. The one that looks like this person or the Japanese woman that I don't have a picture of the Japanese person.
OBGTV.
There you go. So yeah, that's about it. So we're going to do my outro and then we will get the fuck out of here.
Word.
And that is all, folks. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the conversation. One more time, Nuch 412. Check them out. Thank you for coming over, man. I really appreciate it. I'll be back again in a few days with another episode. Same time, same place, same channel. You know the drill. My name is Sykes. Start the beat 2019. Woo, woo. Thanks for listening. Peace out. And we are done, my friends. Get that slow fade on the beat real quick. All right. And that's it, my friend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Boom. Tight.